Howdy friendos, I'm Crazy Jason and you've entered my Wacky Emporium. And welcome to yet another weekly roundup. This week I have a nice little stack of Blu-rays here to share with you. So let's dive right in. First up, The Red Shoes, the Criterion edition, the Blu-ray edition that I believe that they released either last year or the year before. Now, I'm not going to do a full-blown review on this. The reason why is because this is the first time that I've seen this movie. I was waiting on the Blu-ray because it's notorious for being a beautiful film. So I wanted to see it on the best format possible. So, you know, I didn't watch it on Netflix or DVD or what have you. I determined to see it on Blu-ray. And but the movie is so dense. You know, the character development, the number of characters, the themes, the production techniques. It's not a movie that begs to be rewatched. It's a movie that demands to be rewatched. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail other than to say that, like The Wizard of Oz, Technicolor is candy for Blu-ray. I mean, it's just, your eyeballs will just melt. If you liked Black Swan, which this movie has been compared to quite a bit, there are a lot of similarities. This is the superior film by a long shot. But if you like Black Swan and you like older movies, then you definitely need to check this out. Now I do want to show you the interior because I think the cover is just absolutely gorgeous. That's what the interior looks like. You have the red shoes on the disc there, and then of course you have the booklet. Oh God, I love that smell of the Criterion booklets. Okay, so what is in this disc? Let's see here. From the back, a new high-definition master from the award-winning 2009 digital restoration with uncompressed monaural soundtrack. Introductory restoration demonstration with filmmaker Martin Scorsese. Now, they filmed this introduction that I believe was meant to be tacked onto the beginning of the film. But for whatever reason, they decided not to do that. So it's just a separate little tiny short. I can't remember, it's like a minute and a half long. But it's still worth watching. Audio commentary by film historian Ian Christie, featuring interviews with stars Marius Garing and Moira Shearer. Cinematographer Jack Cardiff, composer Brian Easdale, and Scorsese. Audio recording of actor Jeremy Irons reading excerpts from Powell and Pressburger's novelization of The Red Shoes. Profile of The Red Shoes, a documentary on the making of the film featuring interviews with members of the production team. Video interview with director Michael Powell's widow, editor Thelma Schoonmaker Powell, from the 2009 Cannes Film Festival, in which she discusses Powell, the film, and the restoration. Now, I watched that, and it was very interesting. For those of you who don't know, Schoonmaker is Scorsese's longtime collaborator. She's his editor. And like I've said before, behind every great director, there is a great female editor editing his films. That's not always the case, but it seems to be in a lot of cases. Let's see what else. Collection of rare publicity stills and behind-the-scenes photos. Now this next thing is one of the things that sold me on buying this Blu-ray. Gallery of items from Scorsese's personal collection of the Red Shoes memorabilia. Obviously Scorsese is a huge fan, and he helped spearhead the restoration of this film. It just looks gorgeous. The special effects were beyond its time. I'm not going to try to go into the story and go into depth. I really need to watch this film again And what I plan is a separate review. This is one of those movies where I've said, sometimes there's a movie in my weekly update that I just need to set aside a separate review for, and that's The Red Shoes. But just want to let you guys know this is an awesome film, absolutely gorgeous, packed with great features, and I highly recommend it. Next up, Winter's Bone, which is another gift that I got for my birthday. I initially saw this by renting it from Redbox a few months ago on Blu-ray. Of course, once watching it on Blu-ray, I could only have the Blu-ray version. Jennifer Lawrence, who stars in this movie, definitely deserved her Academy Award nomination. This movie is set in Missouri, based on a book about this 17-year-old girl played by Jennifer Lawrence, and she's pretty much taking care of her younger siblings, a little boy and a little girl. Her mom is in almost like a waking comatose state. She's just like in a severe depression and is completely useless. Her dad, who cooks meth, and they make a point that that's a prevalent problem in that region, and it is. He was in prison, and then he got out, and then he skipped out on his bail. So, and for his bail, he put up as collateral his house and his land. So this girl, who has this burden of taking care of her brother and sister, is now faced with this crisis of losing her home. And, she's already having a hard time feeding her family. This movie it's a drama, it's a thriller, it's a character, deeply, John Hawkes plays her uncle. He was also nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. He is fantastic. All of it, they cast pretty much the entire cast, save for a few actors, from that region. And they're all authentic. All the accents ring true. Missouri is miles away from South Carolina, but as someone from a southern state who has had to endure, decades of Hollywood movies where the accents are just totally off and completely comical, I appreciated that this movie rang true. It's just, I can't recommend it enough. And I was talking to my good buddy, the Ace Hunter, earlier tonight, and we were both talking about all of the movies that were overrated last year. And this is one that was really, really rated highly, and it absolutely deserves it. Her journey to track down her dad, and just everything that goes on is absolutely riveting. And there's some good features. There's an audio commentary with the director and the director of photography. It's a good commentary. Tends to get a little bit repetitive. They after about 30 minutes you'll start to get a little bored, but it's worth listening to at least a little bit of it. The making of Winter's Bone is an unconventional kind of thing. It's basically just a bunch of outtakes of the film, or footage that they didn't use. Let's see. It's got a theatrical trailer. I appreciate the theatrical trailer. You remember when DVDs first came out, and they always had the theatrical trailer on them, and then for whatever reason they just stopped doing that. I don't know why, but this has the trailer, so I really thumbs up for that. It's got an alternate opening, some deleted scenes, so it's got some good features on it. And my eye is very sensitive to a film that's shot on film or video, and I was deceived by this film. This film was shot on the red one, and I am become more and more impressed with the red one. And I gotta say, for independent films, and this film was truly independent. There was a very small crew involved. I was really astonished, because you watch it and you know it's a low budget film, but it doesn't look cheap. I mean, you know, it looks like they did spend some money on it. I can't say enough about this movie. Today was the second time I watched it, and I'll be watching it again. Next up, Misery. Last week we had Stand By Me, and this week we have Rob Reiner's adaptation of Stephen King's Misery. I guess this would be Rob Reiner's, you know, masterpiece of a thriller. Let's see, a masterpiece of a drama. And I guess you could call When Harry Met Sally a masterpiece of the romantic comedy. But I don't like to use the word masterpiece. That is one word that I don't throw around lightly, so I'm actually not calling Misery a masterpiece because I have some problems with this movie. Having said that, this movie is eminently rewatchable. As far as the Blu-ray is concerned, it is an upgrade over the DVD, that's for sure. It's not, you know, blow you away picture quality, but it's decent. It accentuates some of the problems I have with the film, namely, one, why on earth is it lit like a soap opera or lit like a stage play? And the second thing is the sets. You know, I mean, the interior of the room, the main room, is so obviously a set. And I hate it when it looks like a set. And then when you're looking through the window, you know that it's a backdrop or it's a blue screen and it's not really, you know, you're not really looking at what is actually outside the window. But all of those things don't really matter because of Kathy Bates and James Caan. I mean, those performances just keep you riveted throughout the film. Hats off to Rob Reiner for adapting this movie, because he did the movie is very much like the book, unlike The Shining, where the book The Shining is the movie is really different from the book. In this case, if you're a fan of the movie and you like reading books, I highly recommend picking up the book Misery, because there's so many more details, especially about Kathy Bates' character. So many disgusting, bizarre details in that book. But anyway, the one thing I don't like about this edition is on the Blu-ray you have the movie and the movie alone. All of the features were ported over from this, the 2007 Collector's Edition, which was one of the last, not the last, but one of the last DVDs that I bought before switching over to Blu-ray. Once again, I keep upgrading from sets that I like. You know, I like this slipcover. I need to Google on that sticker off. But, you know, it's just one of those, I barely got to enjoy this before upgrading to Blu-ray. But what they did is they ported over all of the special features from that edition onto the DVD in this edition. So in other words, if you watch the movie on the Blu-ray and you want to then watch the special features, you're going to have to take out the Blu-ray disc and put it in the DVD. On the upside, you get a DVD included. So, you know, I'm sure a lot of you have seen this film. I would rate it, you know, definitely up there as far as thrillers. It's just a fun movie. That's the bottom line. It's a fun movie that can be watched again and again, and it's definitely an upgrade over the DVD. Not a huge upgrade, but enough to take the plunge, especially at the price. Get this at $7.99 at Best Buy, or you can get it for $8 at Walmart. So it's become one of those budget Blu-rays. Let's see. Last, but most definitely not least, is the one DVD in my update this week, and that is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Now, this is another one of those movies that I really should set aside just a separate review for. absolutely one of my favorite films. Mike Nichols just hit it right off the bat. This was his first feature film and arguably his best. The black and white cinematography is so sharp. I was worried going in because I had not actually seen this movie on DVD. I have only seen it on VHS and on television. So I had no idea what the transfer was going to be like. But it's really, it's a pretty clean transfer. There's some spots that could use some cleaning up, but it's sharp. It's you know, the blacks are very inky. I mean, good, nice and contrasty, and definitely one of those movies that when it came out was a shocker. You know, with the language and the subject matter. But basically, you have Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, who were actually married at the time, the making of this movie. Elizabeth Taylor was only 32 at the time, but she gained weight, and they used age makeup to age her because she was supposed to be in her mid to late 40s. They play a very dysfunctional couple who play these bizarre games as part of their relationship. It's late at night, and they've just come back from a function, and they have they're at a university. He's a professor at the university. She is the dean of the university's daughter, the president of the university's daughter. So he's married to the president. He's married to his boss's daughter, basically. They have this very contentious relationship, constantly going at each other, and to be able to watch two great actors of that era just go at one another with this amazing dialogue that you just don't see in movies anymore. You just, when they say they don't make them like this anymore, this is a prime example. They really don't make movies like this anymore. The dialogue is so rich, the delivery is so biting. A lot of special features on this one. It's a 2-disc set. It's got commentary by the director Mike Nichols and Steven Soderbergh. That's a very interesting commentary. Mike Nichols is the man who directed Soderbergh as sort of a fan with an outsider's perspective, but who is also a director, so he understands the process of directing. That was a great pairing for a commentary. Commentary by cinematographer Haskell Wexler. I haven't listened to that yet, but obviously Wexler, being one of the masters of light, I definitely need to listen to that commentary because, man, the lighting in this film, the choice of lenses is very sharp. It's more akin, the look of this film was not common for the time. It was more common for French films or European films of that era, more like the New Wave. So I'm definitely got to listen to that commentary. Let's see, what else? Vintage biographical profile of Elizabeth Taylor. 2 new featurettes, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, a daring work of raw excellence. And Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, too shocking for its time. There's a 1966 Mike Nichols interview, Sandy Dennis screen test, and Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton movie trailer gallery. So packed with a lot of good features, and this is one of those you can pick up for cheap. I got it at FYE for $6, I guess, but to me that was a little extravagant because I think you can get this for a lot less than that. But anyway, that's going to do it for this week, folks. I hope you enjoyed watching. I have been just all over the place this week. I have brought home a lot of Blu-rays. I feel incredibly guilty because of money I have spent that I shouldn't have. But that just means more Blu-rays for our future here in the updates. So next week I'll definitely have, we'll definitely be Blu-ray rich, that's for sure. So thanks for watching, and you've been in my Wacky Emporium.